So I didn't learn this myself. I saw it in some YouTube comment on another video, and then other videos out there apparently have pointed it out. But the self-medication tier 3 perk apparently heals you completely too, rather than just giving you max health. Now, I thought it was trash when I saw it initially, because if you compare it to other mods like Even Odds, the tier 2 mod, it increases your max health by 10% times 3 for every enemy in close range. And that's just more consistent and reliable versus this one where it just increases at 10% with the same 3 stacks. But then also stacks horribly where it's like it basically you're almost never going to have the maximum stacks for long, because it's how it applies is each stack is like its own thing until it runs out. So it doesn't actually, if you compare it to Circle of Power actually keeps stacking on top of what it does, and then it deteriorates. So every like 7 seconds you just lose one of them. But if you use a skill again, you get it back and you reset the entire thing, like the entire cooldown. This self-medication, it's so weird and wonky where it's like instead it's like clearly it's like each time you use a skill, it's like its own separate thing going on for 5 seconds, and then the moment it's down, you lose that health until you use another skill. So it does stack, but they're all, this game, you know, it's just totally weird and wonky. But speaking of that, apparently I did not know that it actually fully heals your whole health bar with just one skill after a skill's done. So I'm like, okay, that is pretty OP. I had no idea that maybe it is viable now. So I did realize it was useless for my Techno and Pyro, because both my Techno and Pyro already have full healing abilities and low cooldowns for them, so I didn't even want to still use it on them. I definitely, the one who benefits the most is actually, I'd say, not even my Trickster I'm using here, but my Dev, because basically it was a perfect switch in for Life Absorption. Life Absorption is totally useless on him now, so I'm like, I'll just switch that out for that. And now, like, Gravely, Boulder Dash, and even Endless Mass, they all just totally heal his whole health now. So that's very good for him. He actually probably benefited the most, because, again, I decided to try it on my Trickster. The thing is, I'm still unsure about it, just because, again, my Trickster is so tanky now. That's why I'd say my Dev benefits the most from it, because even though he even has shield too, but it still gets breached, of course, way more often. But my Trickster, I mean, literally this fight here, that's why I wanted to go into this fight, because it's only the stupid Final Arbiter and his axe rolling insanity that ever drops his shields. Like, it's only that. There's not a single other fight in this entire game where his shields break. And when they do, it's like he already has, you know, skill. He has a lot of skill leech healing off mobs with Venator's Knife, and now he also has weapon leech healing too. So I'm like, it's not, but the thing is, it's not a crazy amount of leech healing. What I can tell you about the Final Arbiter is leech healing is by far superior, because you have skills that heal you, right? And then you have leech healing. Each one of them, I would argue, for building my ultimate tanks, it's always great to try and have both of them, because they actually both have pros and cons. Because skill healing is very good if you're like getting lit up somewhere and you don't have any ads to shoot or get health back immediately. You just pop a skill, bam, you're back. The thing is, my Trickster already kind of has that in the form of his shield gains. Like, that's his biggest thing already. That's why I said my Dev benefited the most from it, I'd say. Because my Techno and Pyro already have that, and then they both also have a ton of leech healing on top of it. But in this Arbiter fight, the leech healing is by far better, because, especially if you have a lot of it, like on my Techno, because the axe rolling craziness is just insane, where you see, like on my Trickster even, I'll have full shield, full health, and suddenly I'm at instant red. In those situations, having a lot of leech healing constantly is what keeps offsetting that, I've noticed. Because if you heal off your skills and that crap happens to you right when you use your skill, well, then you're just waiting. You have to wait the full cooldown to get instant full health again, while in the meantime you're at red the entire time, because it just did that kind of crazy damage to you suddenly. So I can definitely say leech healing is superior against the Final Arbiter. that's why I have reservations about it, because it's only here that it's useful. And I can tell I beat him, especially the last attempt. I noticed it was actually coming in clutch, where he was clearly breaking my shield and probably doing tons of damage to my health, like multiple times during his absurdity. But then I noticed I was constantly back at full, just because it happened in those moments where, like, Borrowed Time or Venator's Knife were just instantly ready again. But again, like, when he does it when they're both on cooldown and I'm suddenly in red while they're both on cooldown, like, in those situations, it's like, it could still be helpful, but honestly, the leech healing is more important, just to at least, even if it doesn't heal me entirely immediately, it at least just heals me enough probably to keep staying alive until I get, my shield back, really, and while I keep healing off the damage on my health with the leech. So I'm still unsure about it for my Trickster, but it's definitely, and also I think it doesn't mention that at all in the skill. In the mod, I don't think they're going to keep this. It just doesn't make sense to me. I would recommend, if you use this, you make sure it is a customizable mod on your dude. So it is on my Trickster right now, and I don't even know if I want to keep it. Like, it's just like, it's this, like, what do I pick? Do I pick Captain Hunter and I kill this Final Arbiter 16% faster, so I don't have to deal with him for 16% faster? Or do I have this where it's like, okay, sometimes, but still, I've noticed, not all the time, one of these fights, he still took me to red health during cooldown. I'm like, it's still not helping all the time, though. So do I just use self-medication where sometimes it helps me, but it's give or take, right? I will say I do want to, the thing is, I do want self-medication as a mod on my Trickster. I just can't decide right now if I prefer Captain Hunter or that. But I will say it's definitely something I want in the future if this stays, because it increases your health too. And the thing about it is, it's just double tankiness on my Trickster, because again, he gets shield bonus from max health too. So this mod makes his max health constantly go up, which in turn increases his shield gains as well. And then of course it's fully healing him too. So yeah, I'm still very, very good. But again, like, I just remember they might nerf this crap. So especially since it seems like a bug, because it doesn't mention that at all. I hope they don't, because honestly, the mod sucks. It is a totally crap mod if it didn't do this. So, like, if they were even to nerf it and maybe make it so it's only a 50%, full health healing, I would still definitely use it on my Dev, because it'd still be better. But I'd still want it eventually on my Trickster too, just because again, it just gives him even more healing insanity when his shield's not active that way. Which is why, like, I still think he's better with it. I just, again, can't tell if, like, is it worth it or Captain Hunter? I don't know, because, like, he barely ever needs healing ever, and whenever he does, it's during this dude. So, and Captain Hunter would help against him too. So I don't know. I definitely want both of them though on my Trickster. But again, as I find a way to get it, it needs to be a customizable mod.